Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars on the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Question in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. Live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, their foes can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good morning. Welcome to another great Tuesday morning for Ken and Ken in the morning. Good morning, Ken. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Another day where I'm still sucking air.
It's always good to be sucking some air. Speaking of sucking, did you see KC last night?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And this is my perfect time to award a participation trophy to Chris Jones for scratching his balls on that touchdown. Because he was literally standing there scratching his balls as Trevor Lawrence is falling all over himself, picks himself up, and gets into the end zone. You think maybe you could have done anything there? No? Okay.
Tell us how you really feel, Ken.
Well, for somebody that's paid one of the premier guys in the league and all that, you'd expect effort. You don't even have to get home, just effort.
Well, today's show is aptly named DUUUUUUUUVAL. Can't believe they pulled it out. Well, actually, I can. I predicted it. I picked the Boomer Bust boys. That's what I'm going to start calling them. So I kind of picked them to win the game because I think KC is on that backward slide of Father Time.
Yep. I was just saying this to my old lady yesterday, that they're going to have to start rebuilding because every dynasty even comes to an end, and you got to bring that back up. Shit. We saw that with Tom Brady and the Patriots. He had that absolutely stellar team in the early thousands, and then granted, they were still getting to the playoffs, but they weren't as dominating. And then they rebuilt that sumbitch in, what was it, 07? And started taking off again and even did a third rebuild.
Yeah, there's some problems over there, to include my fantasy team, which completely self-destructed this weekend. NTN, it's funny because NTN didn't do jack for me. So he was my hope last night, because my Buffalo Bills didn't do shit for me either. Yeah. It just so happens that way. In fact, where are my Buffalo Bills people at? Oh, we got Joe this morning. I know he's going to be happy.
What's up there, Joe?
What's up, guys?
Did you get to watch the game last night?
No, I know Jacksonville won.
Oh, you would love it because Chris Jones just stood there on the middle of the field scratching his nuts, literally, instead of trying to make a play on Trevor Lawrence's game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, well.
Kansas. I was going to say Kansas City must have got too used to sucking on Joe's right and left nut that Chris Jones got a little jealous and had to give his own some attention.
We're only 2 games out of first place.
And so it begins. Okay, I got to switch it over to this one. So, Joe, how long do you win the division?
That's a fact. We're 1-4, but we're 2 games out of first place.
You gotta love the There you go. You can still do it, guys.
We can still do it, guys. Just got to stack a couple of wins.
Sorry, give me 1 second here, guys. Well, good morning, HTTR folks.
Yeah, hey, what up there, Mitch?
I want to say good morning to the Commanders Nation, Redskins Nation. For some reason, I'm not seeing the Buffalo Bills guys. Where'd they go this morning? There's a way to fix that.
I was gonna say they kicked you out too for not being enough of a fan.
No, the Bills guys are great, man. I just don't know what's up with X, with the way they do communities, and sometimes they're a little strange. There we go. Yeah, because they made a change that was actually positive.
What's up there, Luca?
Good morning, Luca. Welcome home. Are you home?
And Joe, I happened to see a meme this morning about the Raiders that you bringing up you're only 2 games out of the division happened to remind me of.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, okay. Get your shots in now while you can.
What, before they go on an 11-game winning streak?
Oh, I don't know about 11-game winning streak. Like they can't continue to be this bad this year. Like, you know, to me it's one of those things. It's like when teams, you know, a few years ago the Vikings won like 11 one-score games, right? And then like the next season, it's like eventually you have to regress towards the mean, dude. Like I feel like the Raiders have been so bad this season so far that like a regression towards the mean is necessary and inevitable, and eventually they're gonna put a couple of wins together, dude. You know, I'm not saying they're gonna make the playoffs or anything, but they're too talented a team to be this bad. Like eventually, you know, they're gonna figure it out. Now, Geno, on the other hand, might break the record for interceptions in a season. I don't know, man.
Yeah, who's your backup? Is it still AOC there?
It's Kenny Pickett.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Man, so you pretty much have to roll with Geno.
Well, dude, on the Raiders subreddit, it's like people are they got the pitchforks out and they're screaming for Kenny Pickett. And I'm sitting here like, when you're screaming for Kenny Pickett to start, that's how low you sunk, dude. Like,
yeah, because I don't know if they've watched any Kenny Pickett games, but most of them aren't just bad. There's some horrible gaffe that happens with Kenny Pickett, like when he was playing with Philadelphia last year and flipped himself over trying to pump fake.
yeah, but the thing is, like, if he could come in, and this is just, I'm not saying he can, I'm just saying if he could come in and limit his mistakes to 1 turnover per game, like, you have to think the Raiders offense would be better. Like, Geno with these 2 or 3 picks a game, he's just killing us. Like, we're not even getting out of the chutes, man. You know what I mean? Like, the other horse is already like halfway around the track by the time we get out of the chutes, man. Like, you have to think that the Raiders offense would be better if he could limit his turnovers to just 1 per game. Just 1.
Yeah. And Ken, Fred is wondering if he can get a hold of you on Messenger later because he wants to talk about an Alaskan cruise.
Yeah, man. Either that or an X. Yeah, just drop me a line, man. Sorry, I'm trying to get some of our things on X going here. There, let me see if that worked now. You know how you go you get the weird whatchamacallit, you know.
Yeah, well, Jay, I don't think of you as a smart person. Prove me wrong. Yes,
All right, so welcome to
I would
the.
say Genty has lived up to the draft position thus far, based on what he's been able to do, and based on the circumstances he's in.
I was going to say, based on how bad the offensive line is in front of them.
Well, they've gotten better at run blocking the last few weeks. I mean, give them their credit, dude. Like,
Yeah,
he had 100 yards from scrimmage last week. He had 140 yards rushing the week before. That's 2 solid performances in a row.
Hey, want to say good morning to the Jacksonville Jaguars X community. Welcome to the program. They've been added in. But, Joe, as far as the Raiders are concerned, I mean, dude, 2 years in a row, it's the quarterback's fault. 2 different quarterbacks. Maybe it's just Vegas.
I mean, maybe so, but see, here's the thing, though. I'm a Raider fan. I actually watch all the games that are televised in my area. It is the quarterbacks 2 years in a row. Now, that's not to say that all the blame goes to the quarterback, right? But in this particular case, I don't know how you could look at 9 interceptions in 5 games and not blame the quarterback more than anyone else.
Dude, I agree with you. I'm just giving you a little shit because I can.
No, and I understand, and it gives me an opportunity to like explain my point on it. And people can agree with me or they cannot agree with me. That's fine. But to me,
I agree with you. Actually, to be honest,
with you, it's obvious, dude. Because Chip Kelly's not throwing the interceptions, man. Like Chip Kelly is calling the plays, but he's not the one throwing the ball. Like, and here's the thing, like,
though, Joe. I mean, look at this is where I say maybe it's Vegas because Geno Smith last year was not this bad. If you look at Minshew, remember if we rewind the clock a year when we were talking about last season, and you and I were both like, Minshew, my dude, he just took the Colts to the playoffs. He's not going to be bad. Train wreck in Vegas. Now, fast forward to this year, Geno Smith did really good in Seattle. You were hype on him coming in. We were all hype on him coming in because, well, he played well in Seattle. Now we're in Vegas, train wreck. So, I mean, I agree with you. It's the quarterback. But now you see why I'm saying it's Vegas. Maybe some of these guys don't have the mental acuity to live in the Las Vegas area with all the things that Las Vegas is and maintain the professional football ability.
Yeah. So, look, here's what I'll say. Last year and this year, I understand that they might look similar, but they're not the same. Last year, we had a rookie head coach. We didn't really have an offensive game plan. Like AP is not an offensive coordinator, and his offensive coordinator that he chose was the dude from the Bears who absolutely sucked. And then he fired him halfway through the season. So firing your offensive coordinator halfway through the season rarely, if ever, works out, right?
Yeah.
This season, there's continuity with the coaching staff. Like, nobody's been fired yet. I trust Pete Carroll, but I think one of the key differences, and this is just my theory, like, I don't have – you can – football is subjective, man. Everybody has their opinions. This is mine. I think Geno is trying to do too much. I think, like, Geno sees that we're starting a bunch of rookie receivers, Jack Besh, Dante Thornton. We got a young guy in Trey Tucker, who he's not a rookie. He's like a third-year guy. But Jacoby Myers is really the most experienced receiver on the team, and he asked for a trade. Like, I think Geno Geno's basically a year ahead in his mind. Like, he's expecting these rookies to make these plays, so he's giving them chances, but they're not ready for him, especially Dante Thornton. I think Thornton, he had some flashes in the first game, like he could be something, and he still can, but he's not there yet. I think Geno's like, for the home run ball all the time instead of taking the easy money, because he's seeing the plays that they could make next year. This year is what I'm saying. Like, I think he's like fast in his mind to when these young players are good, and they're not good yet. And so he's giving them chances that he shouldn't be giving them. He should be sticking to the guys who he knows can catch the ball, like Jacoby Myers. Although I also must say, a few of his interceptions have been him forcing it to Jacoby Myers. So, and Bowers being hurt certainly doesn't help. But I see hope for this team, is what I'm saying. Like, I think by the end of the year, you'll see these young players like Dante Thornton start to figure it out, and going into year 2, they'll look a lot better. Will Geno still be there? I don't know. Like, depends on how many more picks he throws, I guess. But
it is ironic though how for the last 2 years we've had the same problem here with the Raiders. So I mean that is problematic to me. And Geno last year was good in Seattle, just like Minshew was good the year before. And I get offensive coordinators, head coaches, but some of these interceptions, some of these throws, like you've been saying, are just egregious.
But look at who Geno had at receiver last year.
Let's be real. Vegas is not the easiest place to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
It's not. But Geno Smith's an older dude. You'd think he'd be past some of that other crap. You know, I mean. But
who were his receivers in Seattle, Ken? Think about that. He had Jackson Smith and Jigba and DK Metcalf. Like, so could it be, I'm just throwing a theory out there, could it be that he's treating these new receivers like Jackson Smith and Jigba and DK Metcalf, and they're not that? You know what I mean? And they're not.
So yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with that. There's obviously a disparity in the receiving core, and obviously having Brock Bowers be hurt right now isn't helping. You know, or not being 100% because he's still playing, but he's not 100%.
No, now he's out. He's week to week now.
Yeah, now he's week to week. Genty is actually a pleasant surprise, but let's see how he does over the long haul versus the last 2 games. But maybe he's starting to get it. Pete Carroll does seem, you know, we'll figure this out. He's a Hall of Fame coach, but I mean, yeah, I think, you know what, Joe, maybe with the Raiders fan base right now, it's a little bit too much. And Raiders fans, don't shoot me. I think you guys are a little bit, and this is not Joe, but some of you are a little too freaky outy right now. It's been 5 weeks with the new system, new coaches, new quarterback. Have there been ups? Yes. Have there been downs? Most definitely. Have you been consistent? Hell no. Will it get better? Yes. But you guys go, yeah, but Ken, look at your Bears compared to my Raiders. Okay, different scenario, though. Knew everything just like you, except, like Joe just said, look at my receiving core, look at the Raiders' receiving core, right? Look at my offensive line for pass defense, which is ranked 4th in the NFL, even after facing the game record Max Crosby, right? What's the Raiders' offensive line at? Look at the amount of picks that, you know, the pick INT ratio or the pick touchdown ratio between Caleb and there's a difference. But I think Caleb takes care of the ball better than Geno. Geno's trying to force it, like Joe said. If Geno would just stop forcing it, and if it's not there, get rid of it, that's part of it. And that's where his coach needs to get in his ear. Because we know Geno's a better quarterback than this.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, I've watched all their games so far, and I cannot remember a single play that Geno threw it away.
Yeah.
He's throwing it. He's playing huck'em chuck'em football down the field. Like, bro, throw it to the fucking sideline. Like, throw that ball out of bounds, bro. Have you not seen Varsity Blues? Hit the dude on the horse. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like,
I mean,
so, yeah, no, but I agree with you, Ken. I think you make a very valid point about the differences between the Bears and the Raiders. Like, Plus I would like to also throw out there that the Bears brought back most of their team. Like, you added some pieces, but you didn't get rid of a whole bunch of guys. The Raiders lost half their starting defense. The Raiders lost half their starting defense to free agency. They lost Hobbs, they lost Merrick, they lost Spillane, they lost Wilkins, they lost.
And Joe, let's go even further. Even though we actually brought back almost the entirety of the defense, really the only thing we did was add Dio and Garrett. Right now, we lost our top 3 defensive players for the first 5 weeks of the season. 2 of them come back here, for week 6, right? JJ's out for basically the next 8 weeks. He may be, or 9 weeks. He might be able to come back at the very tail end. So that's another distinction too. The Bears kept everyone. Actually, we lost 3 of our top 4. If you want to put Edwards in there, 3 of them come back this week. We get everyone back. So really, if you look at the Bears defense right now, the only change is JJ's out, but Stevenson has stepped up. And we added Garrett and we added Dio. Otherwise, that's it for the Bears defense. Offensively, all we did there, we did buy a new offensive line in terms of the interior. But if we start the rookies this week, all 5 starters are they'll start in week 6 if it goes with the rookies on the tackles. That's a brand new. No one on that offensive line was in the Bears uniform last year. If that's the way they roll, and then all we did was we add a tight end, add another receiver, add another running back in the draft. So we added very little in comparison to the Raiders, minus the offensive line overhaul. But when you're buying guys who are tried and true, that's a little different. And actually, when you look at now starting rookies at the tackles, we could go with the vets at the tackles and still be serviceable. And still be where we're at. So huge difference between what the Bears were doing and what the Raiders are doing. But that being said, the Raiders aren't far off. You have a really good defense there. You have some pieces on offense that work for you. It's just the growing pains are going to be different because you have the weaponry is not as deep, maybe. The offensive line is not as good right now. It's not that the scheme is bad. Geno does need to go back to being, Geno, like he was the last 2 years or so. Throw the ball away. Stop trying to force it. I think if he just stops trying to force it, I think the Raiders are going to win 2 or 3 more games, just like snapping a finger, because that's going to take more pressure off the defense because less turnovers, less short fields. There's nothing wrong with punting the ball. Ask Corey Taylor. You know what I mean? Dude, they're look at people that I have long time said this. Mahomes is a benefit of his situation when he came into the league in KC, right? If the Bears had magically taken Patrick Mahomes with that pick instead of Mitch Trubisky, and Mitch Trubisky, let's say, went to Kansas City, Mitch Trubisky would have 3 rings right now. Sometimes
I'm not going to say 3. He would have at least 1, though.
Yeah,
you got to still give the disparity between Patrick Mahomes and Trubisky.
See, here's
Mahomes
the thing,
is still
though.
a good player.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing with this argument, and it's a hard argument for me to prove, and I grant that, because look where they are now. It's like difference, but why are they where they are now? Because of the education and everything they received when they got to their first teams, right? Mahomes was a pretty decent quarterback coming out of college. He was ranked 2 or 3 on the depth chart when you looked at coming into that draft where everyone thought he should go. Deshaun Watson was the number 1. Everyone thought he was the best. And then, Trubisky was in there. Trubisky, Mahomes could flip. There's some other guys. Mahomes took full advantage of his situation and became a much better quarterback because of it. However, you start taking away the star power. You start taking away certain things. Mahomes isn't as superhuman as he once looked, unlike a Tom Brady, who you could take that stuff away from and he still looked great. Unlike a Aaron Rodgers, who you could give 0 good receivers to and he'd make them look good. Mahomes can't do that. He's not at that point in his career yet. He hasn't had that kind of education with it yet. He's always been blessed with good talent around him. Now that they're getting a little talent drain, you're starting to see that Mahomes is not the end-all that everyone thought he was. Plus, Mahomes is just – good morning, Cam. Mahomes is just look at that team they're having that same problem that every dynasty gets, right? And that is that the replenishment cycle for them. You're starting to feel it. And they look at they may. I'm not saying like they're going to suck for the next 3 years. Yeah, they may miss the playoffs this year or next year, but then they'll probably be right back into it. Maybe they miss it this year, but now they get some better draft picks. Maybe they trade some guys away and get more draft capital. They can keep some core guys, right?
I get what you're saying, Ken, but I don't think they miss the playoffs. I think they go as a wild card and be like a one and done type of thing.
Yeah. But I mean, especially when you look at the way the Ravens have played this year, they're not going anywhere quick this year. I mean, there is. Look at the only team that's really doing what we thought they would do in the AFC is Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. The rest of it, KC's not the KC everyone's been used to. Baltimore's fallen off the wagon, right? They're off the rails right now. The Colts are tearing it up. The Chargers are now questionable. I mean, the Raiders didn't live up to the preseason hype. The Dolphins are a team that we all thought would suck so bad, but now they're winning games all of a sudden. You're like, well, wait a minute. The AFC is such a
I think what you're seeing is sort of a changing of the guard in the AFC, because for the last 5 years, maybe even more, it's been Baltimore, Kansas City, and Buffalo. Buffalo's still there, and it's because it's the Josh Allen show. Like, doesn't matter who he has at receiver, like it's still you got Josh Allen. Like the Ravens and the Chiefs, especially, their players are aging out. And so, like, I think that's part of the problem. It's like Kelsey's another year older. Look at the Ravens; they're an older team too. Like, especially defensively.
And with the Ravens, it's a lot of injuries too.
Yeah, but the Ravens are also like an older team defensively. They're still starting Marlon Humphreys out there, dude. Like, I think you're seeing like a changing of the guard. Like these two teams need to retool, and they're not going to be good for a year or two.
Bill, I wouldn't say okay. Look at they're what 4-1 now. They lost to a division rival in a close game where they did not play nearly up to their standards as normal. So yeah, Bill, you can't look at one division game which was a field goal game. They lost by 3, right? And say, oh my God, the Bills are not what they thought they were. They're going to lose a game. They're going to have a bad game. It happened to be a divisional game on the last, Sunday night football game they'll probably ever play at the old stadium with the whole whiteout thing and everything else that they had going on. Buffalo is the cream of the crop still in the AFC. But look at the Pats are on the way back. They kind of made that statement. But the rest of the AFC is kind of more of a quandary. I've been saying KC's going to slip. KC's going to slip all year. I mean, Chiefs Kingdom doesn't want to believe you, neither do the Swifties, but hey, it is what it is. The Titans are actually starting to play a little bit better. The Colts are surprising. Look at the Jets. For the season. They've played some great games. The Jets have just missed it. You know who's an interesting team right now too? We can't forget about the AFC North because look at obviously since he sucks right now, and that's just simply because Burrow is out. You're not going to win shootouts when you lose Burrow. Period. You lost your best gunslinger. Now you got the junior varsity in. Obviously, he can't hang. The Browns, they're threatening. I hate that the Bears have to play them later because they're threatening, right? They're going to be really good.
Especially if Gabriel can continue to develop on the outing he put out last week. Yep. That was a very good first start for a rookie quarterback.
Yep. But what about frickin' Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh was a tweener. And they still are a tweener, but they're a tweener that's looking like they're starting to trend a little more up. And so they're the team to watch in the AFC North right now.
Yeah. What we're seeing is, like, we're so used to seeing Baltimore and Kansas City on top of the game, and now that they're not, you have all these teams that are scrambling for position, and I actually think it's good for the AFC. It's interesting. Like, even though, like, the NFC, in my opinion, probably the stronger conference at this point, like, they have more good teams. Like it's going to be interesting to see who comes out of this, because for the next couple of years, like whoever comes out on top of this is going to be the new AFC guys, you know.
I mean, look at the Jags. A lot of this, maybe you see with the Jags too. It's like, well, was Peterson just that bad of a coach? Because they didn't really change many pieces.
No, what the problem is Trevor Lawrence before this year had no love on the field, so he really didn't care. And now that he's got his boyfriend out there with him, he actually's got something to play for.
Oh, Jesus. Leave it to the Packers fan to take us to that place.
Okay. Are you not the guy that was talking about football players only yesterday and mentioned it like 5 times?
I was just saying it was an awkward commercial. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
But honestly, when you look at the Jags, though, like personnel-wise, they did overhaul. They the big change. I mean, obviously they added to the draft and everything, but the big difference there has been their head coach. So kind of like the Bears situation with Jacksonville, get a new coach. It's not really a rebuild. They had a lot of pieces, and maybe Lawrence might be a better quarterback than what some people had thought because of the last 2 years. So yeah, the AFC is interesting. The NFC is a little more. I think there are better teams in the NFC right now. We've seen that shift because it does it every 2 or 3 years. The NFC is better than the AFC is better. The NFC, you've got your Tampas, you've got your Phillies. Even the quote unquote mediocre teams would probably win other divisions in the AFC. Like if you threw, I'm trying to think of what would be a good. Heck, you can take any. Oh yeah, you can take the Packers or the Bears. I won't say we're mediocre, but yeah, you can take the Packers or the Bears, put them in the AFC North. They probably win that division.
I wasn't saying they're mediocre. I'm just saying they're not. Like right now, record-wise, they're not the powerhouses of the conference. But
you're third and fourth right now. These are teams that are third and fourth in their division. That would probably be on top of their division in the AFC for the most part.
Unless they were in the AFC East with Buffalo.
Right. Buffalo, yeah.
Other than that, they got a shot at every division. Like, and I think also, so it's like with what's that?
Oh, I was talking to Yenzer.
Oh.
The jackwagon's here.
So you have these teams that are scrambling for position, and, like Jacksonville, we called it in the beginning of the season. We said they were going to be boom or bust, and they're booming. So now it's like with them and the Colts, I'm looking forward to that. I thought that game was going to be absolute dog shit when it was on the schedule before the season started. Now it's looking like that might be the shootout of the year. You know what I mean? Like,
I hope that come playoff time, I mean, I want the Bills to be in the AFC Championship. I want that divisional round game before the championship to be the Colts and the Jags. Because it's a division matchup. They're both they're their divisional opponents. But that to me would be a hell of a great playoff game.
I was going to say, why not have it the AFC Championship?
Because
can you imagine how much that turned shit on its head?
Because Buffalo's going to get there. I think.
Yeah, I want Buffalo.
Has weakness on defense.
Yeah, but every team has a weakness, Ken.
I'm just saying, if you could get 1 or 2 stops versus Allen, that's how you're going to be able to beat them.
I don't know if Jacksonville can stop Allen. I really don't know if Allen's having Allen was not normal Allen, shall we say, Sunday night. So if you catch Allen on an off night, I agree with your argument. If you're catching Allen on any other given Sunday, those defenses don't have the firepower yet to do it. If you took Tennessee's defense with like Jacksonville's offense right now, or the Colts offense, you might be cooking with something. But I really don't see anyone stopping the Bills. I mean, unless they just have they string together some bad games and get into a funk. I mean, that's always possible too. And if, I don't know. I mean, that would be interesting. I mean, a Colts Jags AFC Championship game though would be interesting as hell too. Don't get me wrong. Talk about turning the entire AFC on its head.
Mm-hmm. 2 teams that were in the basement, and all of a sudden they're in the AFC title game. So I'm just looking forward to the regular season matchup between those two, because that division, it's a 2-horse race. and we didn't expect it to be a 2-horse race. Like we all expected, even though Houston was, not a great team, we expected them to be the class of that division, and it turns out like they're in the basement, and you got the Colts and the Jags like slugging it out. Like,
and you've got a Nashville team that is playing a lot better. Granted, they won in the freakiest way you could win against Arizona, but the fact that they were in that game to begin with, like they're getting better. Cam Ward's starting to get it. He's still making rookie mistakes, but that defense, which has not played up to its full potential this season, is still really good. That division might be the best division in the AFC now. Sorry, North.
And Bill, to answer your question, no, I don't think that Pete Carroll should bench Geno. I actually agree with Pete Carroll with what he said last. Like he thought about it. He thought about going to him when the game was already out of hand, but he's like, no, like these guys need to practice. Like that's what he said. He's like, these guys need the reps. Like they need to play in the system. They need to get those reps until it finally starts to click for them. So
that's interesting though, because like Kenny Pickett, why couldn't Kenny Pickett have a resurgence? Look at what's happening in San Francisco with Mac Jones. Like,
I'm not saying he couldn't. I'm not saying he couldn't, but I think for better or worse, this team is tied to Geno this year, and we're gonna, I don't see that. I mean, I see it as a bad thing as far as the entertainment value, but I think like good thing because Geno's gonna get his shit together, and the Raiders are gonna turn it around and end the season respectable, not like a playoff team, but respectable, or he's going to continue on the path he's on, and we're going to end up going to get a quarterback at the end of the year. So it's a win-win for the Raiders to keep.
Whoa, Fred. Whoa. Sorry, Joe. He said, okay, look, the Jags beat Houston, the Panthers, the Niners, the Chiefs. All those outside of the Chiefs are arguably not good or on downfall. The Niners are actually
Aren't they leading the division right now?
They are. And the Panthers are a lot better. Houston, I kind of agree with you on. They only lose to the Bengals with Burrow. That's what I'm saying. The Jags are playing good football. Mac Jones get hurt in the game? I didn't see that he got hurt.
He was beat up, but I don't think it's anything serious.
But more to the point, though, my point on that with Mac Jones was like, look how good Mac Jones is playing. So, like, you go with Pickett in Vegas.
But
look at the backup situation in Minnesota, right? Is like, well, hey, JJ, don't hurry back.
Yeah, but these other guys have showed flashes. I cannot think of Kenny Pickett showing any flashes when he was with Pittsburgh or anything like that.
I think Pickett was his attitude. He had an attitude issue. And that when he got traded away, he wins a ring. And I think his attitude is much. It's kind of like Ginger Jesus, man. You get these guys when they're in some places, the attitude is wrong for whatever reason. They go to new cultures, new places. The question is the culture such in Vegas that Pickett has grown, or is he had too much, being at the Bunny Ranch too much? You know what I mean?
I don't want to see Pickett unless. I mean, I think we should ride it out with Geno, because, like I said, it's a win-win. Either he's going to lead them to respectability, or we're going to be a top 5 team picking in the draft, and we're going to get a quarterback of the future. Either way, it's a win-win for us.
So let's do this really quick because the bye weeks obviously started because we had a bunch of teams. Yinzer was on bye, Ken was on bye, I was on bye. Who was the other bye team?
Atlanta
was on bye. Yeah, they needed the bye. So we're in the bye week cycle. So the Bears, Packers, these 4 teams come back. All probably now grateful for the early bye to get healthy. I know the Bears are. I know the Packers are for their line. Yinzer, I'm sure you're happy you had the early bye. Not that they had massive injury concerns, but it probably helped them solidify what they're doing this early in the season, especially with these teams all being 2-win teams for the most part. Still in the hunt. all these teams are in the bye, well, except for Atlanta, are pretty much in the hunt, right? Not that Atlanta's far out in their division, but it's going to be. What do you expect to see now coming off some of these bye teams coming this week? Do we know who these teams are yet in general across the league? Like, where do we feel now that we're into the bye cycle and we're in that cycle of, okay, the preseason cobwebs are gone and these teams are now what we're starting to find out what these teams are. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah, we're starting to get a little bit of more of a glimpse into these teams now, and you're starting to see where the real weaknesses are lying in your team. Now, granted, we're not at the point where it's, oh my God, we're stuck with this all year long. You're still early enough in the season things can be corrected. So I wouldn't be ringing the alarm bell on certain things. I'd just be kind of inching my hand closer to the button.
All right. What about you, Joe?
I still think it's too early in the season. When it gets to week 10, you're gonna know like who.
Yeah, but we're a quarter of the way through, and we're like, look, we're week 6. We got this week. We got 3 more games, and then it's the trade deadline.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think that it's still early. Like I think I'll give you an example. Like the 49ers, right? They're playing good ball. They're first in their division. They beat the Rams, right, which is a pretty good win. I'm not sold on the Niners. I'm not sure if they're really a good team or they've just benefited from a pretty easy schedule. Like, let's go back and look at their wins. They beat the Saints. They beat Arizona. They beat Seattle, again, I think Seattle has also had,
they've won their division, right? They've played all 3 of their division teams so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've beaten all 3 of them.
But you remember in the offseason, we were saying that the NFC West might be the worst division in football this year. So,
yeah, but I mean, when you beat your division rivals, like all 3 of them, like, dude, that's how you win a division. Man.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're bad. You heard me say I'm just not sure that they're good. Like, I think they might be the best of a bad division, but how are they going to stack up? Because you look at they lost to Jacksonville, right? Like,
we asked how they stack up. I get what you're saying there, but we're at the point now where GMs are starting to say, look, the trade deadline's looming. Am I buying? Am I selling? Am I standing pat? Right? Like, for instance, the Lions have secondary issues. The Packers have secondary issues. The Bears, I don't want to say have secondary issues, but could use a cornerback with Jalen Johnson being out. Because right now the secondary is their strength. We have pass rush issues. Right? The Vikings secondary issues as well. God, noticing a theme in the NFC North. But you've got so are we buying? Are we selling? Are we standing pat? That's where we're getting to. And I don't think anyone in the NFC North is selling. But now I look at the let's say NFC West. I look at the AFC North. Maybe some teams in the East on both sides. Like, okay, there's some decisions. Are we buying or are we selling or are we doing nothing? And then we're at that point in the season where we're starting to figure out, like, okay, we're going to be a playoff team or we're not. Like, for the Bears, it's interesting. The next 5 games for us is going to say a lot. If the Bears go 5-0 in the next 5 games or 4-1, they are a legit playoff threat at that point. But they have to do that the next couple games. That's where I wish the trade deadline was pushed back a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Because the way the schedule is this year is strange. Like, the front load was a mixed bag. Then everyone seems to have like this. We have in the North, at least, we have this easy middle section, and then everyone in the North has a really tough back end, right? But we have to start making these decisions. We're more than a quarter of the way through. We're 3 games out from the trade deadline. Teams are, oh wait, I forgot. You have secondary issues, man. And you well, a lot of us have run defense issues right now, which is also a strange thing to have in NFC North, considering how good the defenses are overall. Because they are good, but we still have these issues. I think we're being nitpicky because we have a good division. But you see what I'm saying, Joe? Is like
Yeah, but I still I see what you're saying, and based off of that, I think it's still too early because, for example, one of the teams that we thought would be sellers at the deadline was Miami, but now all of a sudden
now
they're
maybe
winning
not.
games. So it's like, are they still sellers? I don't
Well,
know.
and the other piece of the equation, which I've been talking about the last couple of days, is how many years is the guy under contract for, or is it a guy like Trey Hendrickson who would be a rental, right? How many of those kinds, and then do they meet your positional needs? So like, could the Bears use Trey Hendrickson? Sure, we could. Could we use a corner maybe a little bit more? Debatable, right? But could anyone else in the North, do they have to have Trey Hendrickson? Not necessarily. Would the Packers like it? I don't even know if they need it. Look at Ken's face, like whatever.
Nah, not really.
I mean, Minnesota wouldn't need them. Detroit, maybe,
Probably.
because Davenport. But but I mean, this is that part of the season we're getting to. Yeah, who are the sellers? I mean, the Steelers, I don't think are selling. The Jets could maybe do some selling. But then again, they're trying to build the core for, because
I don't
it's
think
changing.
they're selling.
I know.
I think the Jets believe in what they have, and they just need to add to it.
Look, I hate to say this, but the NFC North changed the game and how you rebuild franchises. The Bears and the Lions kind of gave you blueprints 1A and 1B. The Lions did it primarily draft. The Bears did it primarily draft with the asterisk of buy an offensive line, right? I mean, basically, look at through the draft, trades for the draft. Even the DJ Moore becomes from the trade, a draft trade. But if you look at the Bears, built a lot of it on the draft. A couple free agents, because you have to do free agency in this league. But basically, they kept when they were 3-win team, they were buying, right? They were buying guys. They were getting guys like DJ Moore, like Montez Sweat, whatever they were buying. I think that's what the Jets do. I think that's what some of these teams do. The only ones you're getting rid of are older guys who you probably aren't going to re-sign, that maybe have a year or two left in them that you can maybe get some draft capital for.
One team that I would keep an eye on, I mean, I don't know if they could make it work cap-wise. They would have to move a lot of money around. But I think the Bills should go all in and try to get Trey Hendrickson, because they need some defensive help. And you could load up and you could make a run, dude. Like, I would look for the Bills to be buyers if Trey Hendrickson is available.
And look, it's going to come down to, normally you don't see a first-round pick go for a rental guy. But I think enough playoff caliber teams would be in it that a second-round pick might not do it. It might take a first-round pick. And granted, if you're getting the Bills' first-round pick, it's like not much different from a high second-round pick. But it's a much better pick than what, say, you're going to get out of, or not much better. Like, it's going to be a better pick than any second-rounder, obviously, you'd be offered. But yeah, it could go that way. I mean, the Bills, I think, could definitely benefit from Trey Hendrickson right now.
Mm-hmm. They have to know that. If we're sitting here saying it and we're nobodies, you would think that their scouting department, their GM is like, at least he's thinking, he's thought about it. You know what I mean?
And cap-wise, I mean, they should be okay. Let me see. Let me check the Bills' cap. Remember, everything is going to be prorated at this point, too. Let me go to the Buffalo Bills cap. They have right now $2.2 million on cap. But let me see what. So that's 2.2. Trey Hendrickson, though, his cap number for the year. Of course, remember we're going to be talking prorated amounts, so this is going to be different come trade time. Hendrickson is owed $25 million. So if we're at like week 8, he's probably still owed what, $12 million? So they're gonna have to move $10 million around. Like, tell me that should be possible. They could probably do that, and then who knows? Maybe Buffalo, or maybe part of the deal is if Buffalo's giving him a first rounder, since he eats some of that contract too.
I was just gonna say that. I don't think Buffalo's giving up a first rounder since he's eating a good chunk of that contract.
Yep. Yeah, Crosby. Look, the Bears aren't trading for Max Crosby because the Raiders aren't going to trade Max Crosby.
Not right now, but I hate to say it. I think there's a possibility that he could be traded at some point.
Bill, okay, well, if you haven't figured out, this panel is not most reporters. And I know you figured it out because you've been watching a while. The Packers at 6 to me is interesting given their last 2 games. The Bears at 18, I'm like, okay. The Raiders at 29, I'm also kind of like, okay. I'm just happy with the Bears. I don't have them ranked 28 because, the Bears get no love anyways from the national media. But the Packers at 6, no. Sorry, Kevin. The Packers
I was going to say a lot of the media sees it is a misstep from having, a wounded offensive line, and they still believe Green Bay is one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, you're 2-0-1. You're 2-1-1. You're not 6. Sorry, you're probably 12-13. Look, if we're basing on how they played, they're probably further back than 6. They're not the 6th best team in the NFL right now because look at their last 2 games: a loss and a tie.
And look at their first 2 games; they beat 2 playoff teams.
Well,
yeah, I actually don't have a problem with the Packers being 6.
I think
from looking at can you name 6 teams better than them? Like, I'm not talking about record wise. I'm talking about just being realistic and looking at the rosters. Can you name 6 teams that are better than them right now? Because Kansas City and Baltimore are out the window. So 2 of your top teams that you would choose are out the window. Like you could say Philadelphia.
Let's see, Buffalo, Philadelphia, Detroit, Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 right there, easy. You know what? You almost have to say the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
You can make an argument for the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
You can make an argument for Jacksonville. You can make an argument for San Francisco, who, by the way,
even then, if they're not 6, you slide them down to 7 or 8, that's still, it's not. I don't think it's completely preposterous, is what I'm saying.
Fred says you can have 31 teams that are better than the Packers. I think they'll give them their last 2 games. 6 is a little high. They're probably more around 8 to 10. I wouldn't put them at 6. And it's not because I'm a Bears fan. I'm just saying realistically. Look at your last 2 games. You lost to the Browns. You tied the Cowboys. And with the injuries you have on the line, you're not the 6th best team in the NFL right now today. I would push them back a little bit, not a lot, because look, they're still getting the Micah Parsons hype. I get that. Jordan Love's actually played pretty decently. Still not worth the $55 million he's being paid, but he's played.
This man's going to have to land on the moon for you to say that he's worth $55 million.
Dude, his numbers are about the same as they were last year. He still hasn't taken that step, which is what we're looking for. So, but like I said, I'm not saying they should be out of the top 10 per se, but they're probably not 6. If they would have said 8 or 9, I would have been more like, yeah, okay. But 6, no, because there's at least 6 teams better than the Packers right now, the way it sits. Now, look, if the Packers get healthy, do I change my mind? Maybe. But that's the other thing. The Packers aren't healthy. They're not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Their offensive line is in such peril right now. They can't even use a stud running back because by the time he touches the ball, just like DeAndre Swift for the Bears, someone's on his ankles.
It's really great that we had a bye week for them to start to get more healthy.
Well,
and Banks is already back, and Tom, from what I'm hearing, it seems like he's going to be back. Oh, jeez.
You're in the wrong place looking for Jordan Love.
In the national media, the Packers.
I figure the hate's going to come.
No, look, it's not that. Look, it's the opposite, Ken. The Packers are getting Parsons love that they may not necessarily deserve right now from the national media, and I get that. That's fine. That's the way the national media does things. They're still in that Micah Parsons hopium shot. And I get it, and because it was a big deal, it was a big swing, it was a big trade, and it's kind of like almost akin to C.J. Stroud with the Houston. Look, the Houston's still riding that C.J. Stroud rookie year high in terms of the national media. When they get these highs, it takes a while for it to come off. They go up fast, they come down slow. So that's why they're getting something, because it's still the Micah Parsons effect in terms of the rating for the Packers. Micah Parsons for the Packers has not been the massive factor. He's been a factor, so don't get me wrong here, but he hasn't been that massive game-wrecking factor that everyone thought he was going to be. He did save the game with his only sack they credited him for in that game against the Cowboys, but he hasn't been a game record to date yet. Max Crosby has.
He had the highest freaking PFF grade for that entire week.
He didn't wreck the game. Obviously, you tied 40-40.
I know the whole game came down.
Man, you're being offended by this. There's nothing to be offended about. I'm telling you, like, they're still riding this. Micah Parsons is the game record high. He hasn't wrecked the game yet, right? And that's fine. I see where they're coming from. I understand it. He hasn't been that yet. I'm not saying he won't be that either. I'm just saying he hasn't. That's why they're at 6 right now. So probably where they should be, probably 8, 9, or 10, somewhere in there. That's just honest. That's not Packer hating. That's just honest.
Yeah. I think that's fair, kid. Like what he's saying, like as an outsider, you know, like Micah has played good for you, but he hasn't been so far what you guys are hoping he will be. Like, and that's a good thing for you, because that means he hasn't reached his ceiling yet with you guys.
Exactly.
Like he's moving into a new system. He's got to get used to playing with the guys around him, and he's done a really good job of adjusting to that already. Like he's already making an impact. But just imagine year 2 of that trade, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Imagine next season when he's dialed in and he's like, he knows how all the guys around him play and everything. I expect that he will turn into that game record. It might not even take till next season. By the end of this season, maybe come playoff time, you know?
Like, Ken, your better argument there is, because they're right about this PFF thing, you gave up 40 points. Look, your best argument about the Dallas game is that, yeah, but without Micah Parsons, maybe we lost by 2 or 3 touchdowns. Okay, fine. He saved you from losing the game. And he legit did, right? He stopped Dak from getting the end zone in the overtime. Like, that was his best play of the game. But because of that play, the hype gets blown back up a little bit. But you still gave up 40 points with Micah Parsons. You still lost to the Cleveland Browns with Micah Parsons. So, and week 1, he wasn't the factor of week 1. When you get a sack at the end of the game in garbage time. So, you know, I mean, Micah Parsons still has room to grow with the Packers, which is scary. Could be scary, like Joe is saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like, right now, today, they're not at 6. They're probably more at 8, 9, or 10. That's not to say after this week they couldn't be at 6 either. I'm not saying that. But based on what we've seen so far, they're not 6. It's still, they're getting some speculative grace.
Well,
they are. They're getting some benefit of the doubt and some speculative grace.
Well, with a loss and a tie that tumbles Green Bay down the rankings, how far does Buffalo move down the rankings from 1 loss to?
Well, considering that the Eagles also lost, I think they're still both in the top 2.
That's just my point. Is we make excuses when Buffalo loses the game, but when Green Bay does, it's indicative of who they are as a team.
Green Bay has a loss and a tie back to back. The Eagles and the Bills have not lost and tied back to back. Their last 2 games are 1-1. The Packers are 1-0-1. Or I'm sorry, are 0-1-1. So yeah, there's a difference there, Ken. Demonstrably, there's a difference there. Now, I'm not saying the Packers, I'm not saying the Packers should be out of the top 10 even. I'm just saying they're not 6. They're more like 8, 9, or maybe even 10 based off especially after the last 2 games. Everyone's going to lose a game. We get that. One game might be a blip, but if it's back-to-back non-win games, that's a little bit more than a blip. And you just lost to a Browns team that everyone else in the division has played has beaten. You lost to a Cowboys team that got destroyed by the Bears the week before. So there's that goes into that too. A little bit. I don't put as much faith into that, but there is some of that. And that gives us something to talk about tomorrow, maybe a little bit more, because we're out of time here. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for all the comments. We'll be back as we get into week 6. And, Fred, I'm not going to just say FTP, but FTP, because you remember –
Another body to FP